All right, what's going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those out there. It is the Earthmaster here on this Sunday, March 19th. Goodness, almost into the month of April already. 2023. It's about 1:25 p.m. here along the West Coast in California. And latest activity here on the Earthquake 3D globe shows a 2.6 over around the Mediterranean region, it looks like. Also some activity kicking up into the Turkey area. Although a little bit quieter looking here on the globe compared to yesterday with all the large-scale activity ramping up all over the place. So let's go ahead and check out what's going on out here. Well, since yesterday, taking a look at the global map out here of the USGS past 24 hours here of all magnitudes for the states and U.S. territories, 4.0 for the international communities. Got one earthquake out here around the Java Trench, and 4.9 coming in about the northern end of the Java Trench off the coast here of Sumatra. Still kind of watching the zone up here as it's been relatively quiet, and it is a large accumulated slip subduction zone area that hasn't really seen any large-scale activity in a little while. So continue to watch that region. Let's see what we got across the area of Papua New Guinea. See if we got anything noteworthy. Actually, nothing showing up here, at least according to the USGS. Now, I know we've seen a little bit of activity here on the EMSC model. Maybe not. This area is showing red circles, so those are some older quakes there from yesterday. Same with down into the New Zealand area and Tonga region. Most of the newer activity here today across the Java Trench and the Philippines, and also western edge here of the Philippine plate. Wow, okay, so we do have a 4.4 up into the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. I thought that was an older quake from yesterday. So that basically makes a couple quakes that we've seen up here over the last few days or so. 4.4 coming into the Kuril Islands, 191 kilometers deep. Remember this area, folks. It's one of the most active subduction zones in the world, with pretty much a backing up of major plates to accumulate quite a bit of slip rate here. These two arrows indicated of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, the directional arrows of the GPS movement of the plates, the general plate movement as a whole. Now, you got to remember, not all the fault systems move in this arrow in the direction of the arrows. This is just the general plate movement of the continent here, the plates. Each individual fault system, of course, moves their own way, but as a whole, it's reinforced here, the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench subduction zone from the Pacific plate, the North American plate from the north with the arrows pointing down here, and of course the Eurasia plate backing all of this up here into a very, well, it's not large. I wouldn't say it's as large as the Peru-Chile Trench, but goodness, I think the accumulated slip rate here is much higher than, say, for example, down here, where the general plate movement kind of shows it not directly pointing towards the Nazca plate, more of a northwestward direction with the South America plate. Okay, so we're watching that. Definitely keep an eye on this area, as it has not seen any large-scale movement in a little while. It's going to fill in, just a matter of time. Okay, Alaska, we did see some activity up into the Cook Inlet area. That earthquake, a 5.4 coming in about 8 o'clock this morning. Did see, let's see if we've seen any aftershock activity. Looks like we did see a 2.0 a couple hours later into this region. This 5.4 coming in 65 kilometers deep, somewhat deep here into the area of the Cook Inlet. Aside from that, most of the movement here, though, is very small microquake activity. Again, aside from that 5-pointer. Out here around the Tanaga and Takawanga volcanoes, things have rapidly progressed to being very quiet. Notice that these earthquakes here are from yesterday. Nothing showing up here across the region as far as any earthquake activity today at all. So it's a little odd to see that just completely stop, but then again, maybe not. You know, these swarms come and go, and sometimes they go away just as quick as they came on. So continue to watch this area. Fiji area, looks like we did see a 4.2 about 3 o'clock in the morning. Another deep earthquake, 545 kilometers deep here into the Tonga Trench, just outside of Fiji. New Zealand, one earthquake here from yesterday. Of course, we've been watching a swarm of activity in just to the south here of the Bay of Plenty, North Island, New Zealand. They did put out a earthquake swarm news update. They, meaning the Geonet servers there in New Zealand, and they did chat about the earthquake swarm and what they believe is causing it. Purely plate stress in the region. I mentioned that yesterday and the day before. There was a little question as to what may be causing it, whether it's volcanic, geothermal, but I believe this is just looking at the past week or so of general seismic activity across the Kermadec Trench, North Island, New Zealand, South Island, New Zealand, all has shown uptick in earthquake activity along with this swarm. So general plate stress in the region, the defining factor in that earthquake swarm there. So let's go ahead and check that out here real quick. Bring up the Geonet servers with their earthquake webpage here. We'll bring up all magnitudes and see what's cooking out here in the beautiful New Zealand area. Mostly 2s over the past hour or so. I'm looking for some larger events. Mostly 1s and 2s, 2.4, 2.7 there 2 hours ago. Not really seeing anything within the last few hours as far as any larger scale activity goes. So it looks as though things may be calming down there as well as far as the earthquake swarm goes. The earthquake drums. This is a good indicator of, what's going on there at the earthquake areas. Not for sure what this is. This kind of looks like some odd error reading. If this was actually like legit earthquake activity, then it would be showing up obviously across nearby local seismograph stations, which it's not. There's the earthquake activity from yesterday. Notice over the past few hours this morning and overnight, things have kind of ramped down quite significantly. Not completely. There's still earthquake activity, but it looks as though it's mellowing out fairly nicely across the area. A quick glance here at the volcano drums across the region. Now this here, let's see what this is. This kind of looks like earthquake activity, I would say. And this is around the area of that swarm. So apparently it looks like there's more earthquake activity than what's being reported on some of those graphs there for the earthquake drums. Right? You guys see that? That's something like we see, at Yellowstone or any area that has some type of earthquake swarm. And this goes back, make sure this is the right date, 3/20/9/29. I believe it is. Yeah. So definitely looks like there's still ongoing earthquake activity. And those may be some of the smaller quakes being picked up. It kind of looks as though that this volcanic drum is very close to the epicenter, which would be picking up obviously the smaller quakes. Not so much at a distance, as far as these other volcanic drums go. But definitely on this station right here. Not 100% certain how to say that word, so I will leave it as B. I don't want to slaughter it. I have quite a few viewers in New Zealand, so I'll get back to that and see if I can't pronounce that a little bit later on. Again, I don't like slaughtering words. It happens sometimes. No one's perfect, but definitely don't want to say that wrong. But either way, earthquake activity, right? Looks like that's continuing. And again, as we've seen here, you got to go to the all magnitudes to see some of that activity. See where that little dot is. 2.1, 1.9, 2.0. Those are some of the quakes shown up there, specifically at that volcanic drum. All right, big island of Hawaii out in the Pacific Ocean. One earthquake out here on the western flank, it looks like, of Mauna Loa, just over to the northwest here. 2.0, 14 kilometers deep. And most of the activity here, though, confined to the Pahala area. No major adjustments noted there across the big island for now. South America was our hot spot of earthquake activity yesterday. It was ramping up like crazy. I'm catching some kind of cold again or something. I don't know what it is. This is way into my sinuses. I don't know where it came from. It just came up out of the blue. Yeah, it's not good. So I'm trying to get over that. It's just been weird. It's been a weird year. Maybe it's all the moisture and stuff kind of leading towards some more colds and flu type stuff that I'm used to. I normally don't get sick. All right, South America area, some twos, and there's an older quake there from yesterday, 4.6. But generally speaking, today much quieter. Let's see here. It kind of looks like, yeah, most of this activity up north is somewhat older as well, but not completely old. It's still looks like early this morning or late last night. Some movement along the Costa Rica area and also the Middle America Trench regions off the coast of Mexico. All seeing some activity. Some of that showing up here, including the movement off the Costa Rica area from earlier this morning. 4.5 is the magic number, appears to be there. All right, looking at the states, what do we got over here in Colorado? Once again, this area has been hopping. 3.8 and a 3.1. That still tells me that the North American plate and the Pacific plate boundary up here is, or to the west, is under some stress and strain. Over the last 7 days, Colorado has been having, well, quite a bit of earthquake activity. Let me go back to the last 30 days, see if we can include that number a little bit. 15 earthquakes outside of Trinidad. The largest one's going to be a 4.3 right here in the mix of things. 3.9 looks to be the second largest quake here. This activity, let's see what we got out here. Let me go back 30 days, check the satellite view. I know down south of here we do have quite a bit of, well, I can already see them, right? Can you guys see what I'm talking about? No, I'm not talking about these canyons. I'm talking about these peppered white, well, it kind of looks like campsites, right? What a beautiful area to go camping. Everyone's got this huge camping site. No, I don't believe these are camping sites. These are kind of look like wastewater disposal wells out there. Where they're doing fracking and oil pumping operations, similar to what we see down south into the Pecos, Texas area and other regions. I'm going to do something here real quick. I'm going to grab these coordinates and check out Google Earth so I can get a little bit better of a stand by here for just a second while I get this up and running. I thought I had a link here for Google Earth, but maybe I didn't. Let's see here. All right, we'll pop this up and so you guys can see. And what we're going to do is just enter in these coordinates and find out what's going on here. Not responding. Okay, we'll give it a second to respond. Overlays. I think that's what's tying this up here, the fault systems, but that's okay. I'll uncheck those here before I reuse this program. Google Earth does zoom in quite a bit in regards to, the satellite imagery, much more so than the USGS maps that they use there for the satellite. What's going on here? Okay, we'll check back that here in just a second because I'm not for sure what's going on. But as you can see, definitely quite a bit of these little operations out here throughout the region. Some of these look like they may be old. Some older unused pumping operations out there now. And of course, they've been getting hit quite a bit here over the past 30 days. I'm not for sure what's going on here. I don't really care about my overlays. Are we there? I guess. Okay. So let me check out the map here real quick. Let's see what we got out there in Colorado. So here's at least within the vicinity of one of the earthquakes, right? That's where they had the epicenter at. And looking out here at this map, man, it's kind of hard to tell, huh? Even in this, I don't think those are campsites. Really don't. They look like some old, unused. Maybe that's where they inject the wastewater up here in the mountains. Very possible. Looks like there's a pond right here. See the old dry pond? Still got a little bit of water in there. So these look like they are definitely some type of oil pumping operations or fracking operations out here in the Colorado region. There's another wastewater pond, although empty. Notice that the curve here, this crater of where they store that pond or the wastewater. All right, so that makes sense. That's definitely been active out there, and those areas do tend to get hit quite often when we see stress out here along the plate boundary. Momentum and the general pressure out here, gradients, tend to transfer inland away from the plate boundary, and those areas get hit quite often, folks. Down here, same with the Pecos, Texas area. We got a whole bunch of these out here in the desert, these wastewater ponds and fracking operations out here. They're all over the place, all over Texas. So when these get hit, we know that there's definitely some pressure out here along the west coast. The rest of the country looks pretty quiet, though, as far as the eastern portion of the country goes. Out here in northern Cal, Clear Lake Volcanic Field. That's another deal when it comes to man-made earthquakes out here. There's a whole process involved by injecting raw sewage below. These are hydrothermal plants, and there's numerous ones out here just south of Clear Lake. And they create energy by injecting raw sewage below into the heated surface. So I don't know how much more greener you can get from that, technically speaking. But hey, that's a fairly brilliant plan there, whoever thought of that. But also at the same time, you creating some earthquakes. Along the San Andreas Fault here, the creeping segment showing a little slight uptick this morning. It looks like a small swarm of 2s and some 1s. Again, along the creeping segment here of the San Andreas Fault. Was watching the swarm here north of the Garlock Fault shear zone last night. Looks like it has died off, though, since about 6 o'clock this morning. But things were ramping up a little bit. Had some 2s, even an upper 2.7 near the Bodfish area. That's off the, well north of the Garlock Fault shear zone. There's a couple different faults that run through here. Ridgecrest area pretty quiet. Still got that little swarm up here into the Nevada, California area around the Fish Lake Valley Fault Zone. That's been active over the past couple weeks, producing quite a bit of earthquakes up there. All right, Southern California, what do we got? Some movement here on the Imperial Fault. These are definitely not big earthquakes, some very small ones from this morning. A little bit of activity across the Salton Sea area as well. The San Andreas Fault that everyone worries about and wonders about remains quiet, but also at the same time it remains about as tight as it can get as far as the plate stress out there along this region. San Jacinto Fault Zone showing some movement as well today, but that's very typical across the area. All right, let's see what else we got. I think that's about it here for the earthquake movement. Check out space weather. I'm kind of curious to see what this giant sunspot region looks like today. Got a massive group here. It looks like a newer region up here on the northeastern limb as well. But this one looks fairly impressive. A lot of intermixing here of the polarities of these fields, magnetic fields. And we'll definitely watch that here in the coming days as it rotates in view. 95% chance of a C flare, M flare at 25% chance, X flare at 1, proton event about 1%. We do have also a major, huge coronal hole, 86, that is just about to face the Earth directly. Uncertain, though, on if this is going to provide us with any geomagnetic activity here in the coming days as far as the auroras go. It is, shooting out some high-speed solar particles, solar wind. We'll see if that position there on the sun will be geo-effective or not. Yeah, it looks pretty clear for now, though. Not a whole lot of potential. All right, let's double-check weather. I know we got rain. We did have rain overnight. Picked up another inch of rain here into the California area, Northern California area. That system's just scooting on by today. Got a little bit of a break. Looks like maybe tonight, in a portion tomorrow as well, before another storm system, mainly aimed here at Central California and Southern California. Going to get quite a whopping of rain as well, although nothing like what we've seen earlier this month there with all that flooding. But either way, some much needed beneficial rainfall to almost hopefully completely put us out of the drought here by this time next month. Another system coming in, looks like on the 27th, 28th time frame. Although this one looks a little bit colder, coming down out of the northwest, bringing some light rain to the valley and some heavier snow into the mountains. And kind of looks like we're going to stay, ooh, goodness, kind of looks like we're going to stay wet into April as well. Towards the first week of April, got another strong low pressure system here. Look at those rainfall totals, accumulated precipitation rate there. It's pretty heavy coming in to the central coast. Looks like Northern California will get some as well. This one kind of aimed though mostly towards the Southern California area. So get ready. It's been quite a wet winter, let me tell you, folks. It's been very impressive. I'm not going to complain yet because I know what's around the corner. We got probably 100 degrees or so after all this ends. Alrighty, have a good one, folks. We'll catch you guys back here a little bit later tonight. Again, looking at the general plate movement out here with the quietness across the south. Not completely quiet, but as far as any moderate to major movement out here across the area, things look like they want to shift west here across the Java Trench, but mainly confined right now to the northern edge here of the Pacific Plate and the West Coast area. So we'll continue to watch that and see how it plays out today. Stay safe, be prepared, and we'll catch you guys back here a little bit later tonight. Have a good one.